I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus, I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus, I was evil. I never should, baby.
I just mixed my metaphors, and I count on you, Benjamin, to correct me when I do that.
Is train wreck on the road?
Yeah.
Ow, fuck, Feedy. Sorry, my cat's on my lap and he's sinking his claws into me.
Well, that's what you get for not catching my mixture of metaphors.
How God, fuck, sorry. I'm not kidding. Stop. How was your Thanksgiving up in the Bay Area?
It was good. It was nice.
Good to hear. Okay, so today we're going to talk about.
Let me elaborate. I want to go through every dish that we had.
Do you have Mexican Thanksgiving or good white American Thanksgiving?
A good American
or correct Thanksgiving, colonizer Thanksgiving.
Yeah. We actually been trying not to be traditional, but like because we usually have like Thanksgiving and mashed potatoes and all that shit, which is good. I love all that stuff. But my mom this year, she's like, I don't like doing turkey and this and that. Like, what if we did like an Italian? What if we made a nice pasta dish and this and that? I'm like, that's fine. I just
my culture is not your Thanksgiving, Joe.
Shut the fuck up. I'm tearing up my support for Italians t-shirt.
No, we need all the support we can get.
But my mom's like, hey, what if we did some other I'm fine with making another dish. And then and I was like, yeah, that's fine, as long as we get family together and we eat food, I don't care. But my sister was like, no, let's do turkey. So we end up doing a turducken.
You did a turducken?
Yeah.
Oh, how was that?
It's pretty good.
Okay,
but it was still kind of a pain in the ass for my mom. So she's like, no, next year we're just doing pasta. We're just doing spaghetti. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't do a very traditional one. Like I've always thought, like Thanksgiving to me, people talk about turkey. I'm like, yeah, turkey's fine. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. It's the sides which are the best part of Thanksgiving, in my opinion. But I didn't really have a traditional one. Oh, I want to vent about something before we get into it.
Yeah.
So my fiance and I, we went to this very famous steakhouse, not for dinner. We literally just went in for a drink. It's like a very famous theater district steakhouse called Keen's. If you've ever seen the Anthony Bourdain episode, like Disappearing Manhattan, he goes there. It's the one with all the pipes on the ceiling and tons of presidents and movie and obviously like theater actors. And, there's so-and-so's pipe, like Marlon Brando's pipe or Abe Lincoln's pipe. Like one's the Abe Lincoln room. I don't know if they all actually smoked it. It's just like a symbol. So we're sitting at the bar, and then this really pissed me off. This put me in a bad mood for a while. We're sitting at the bar, and my fiance, who's like obsessed with theater history and New York City history, she loves it. Right, that's her business, and it's just something she's really interested in. So we have a drink at this over 100-year-old bar or whatever, and she's asking about the pipes to the bartender. Like, do you still give them out? What does it kind of take to get them? Just having a back and forth. And this guy walks up like to the bar, sits next to me, and just like inserts himself in the conversation, right? And he goes, "Oh, I have a pipe." And it's like, "Oh, okay." So I think he's fishing for us to continue that conversation. Like he's like, "Yeah, I have a pipe. It took me 35 years." So like I forget, some white-haired guy. Yeah. And there's kind of a pause, and so I take this as like a social cue to be like, who are you, right? Yeah. Like if you're saying you have a pipe, which is an important, that's a milestone for an artist or a head of state or whatever it is. Who are you? Like, you brought it up. And I go, so what? I think I said, like, what's your name? He goes, Arthur. And I'm like, oh, who? And he's like, I'm not telling you my last name. And I'd be like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, I was doing you a favor. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. Like, you might look like Dustin Hoffman, but you're not. Like, I don't, like, if you were that important, I would have recognized you, because I know a lot about culture and movies and theater and stuff. Like, and first of all, I'm not asking for your social security number or your address. I'm asking for your last name. Like, I could probably get it from the bartender after you pay with a credit card. Like, it wouldn't be that hard. If I slipped the bartender at 20, like, I could figure out who you are, guy. So it really put me in a bad mood. you know, I didn't know if he was connected to the theater industry in any way, so I didn't say anything. God forbid it got back to, you know, my fiance's career. Like, I wouldn't do that. But like the nerve of this, that's so fucking typical, like elitist New York City or LA, to just insert yourself, to let everyone know that you're someone of importance, and then be like offended that they ask, when I'm just trying to do the nice thing to let you have your moment to say to some strangers who you are.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. Fuck his bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's hunt him down.
I came so close to saying something when I was walking out. I swear to fucking, if it wasn't at like a theater related bar in like Midtown Manhattan, I would have said something, because the odds would have been he's not connected to, you know, my loved one's industry. Not that he very well might not. He might have just been a guy who spent a lot of money there. Like, he might be an accountant or something, or work on Wall Street, and he spends a lot of money there. But, you know, I didn't want to risk it. Then he asked, well, who the hell is that? I pay with my credit card. He asks who I am. He does a Google search, finds out who she is. And now, you know, that's a whole issue. So I controlled myself, but I was very unhappy about it.
Yeah. Fuck that guy, man. Like I say, you go back to that bar, you find his name, and then, we'll egg his house or something, or his brownstone.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, he probably lives in some high rise in, you know, Murray Hill or something, or.
Actually, I have kind of a similar story. This is pretty recently, so
but we gotta get on with it. So
that's true, yeah. And it's, so at the venue that I work at, we were hosting the opening night party for some film festival in LA, and the woman that was in charge, she and I had been communicating a little bit back and forth through email for marketing reasons, and then so she shows up at our venue. I'm there to just help, you know, set up and things. She shows up with our bartender, and then she's bringing like a cart full of like liquor and snacks and stuff. I said, "Oh, hey, do you need help?" And she goes, "Yeah." And then, so she just throws her car keys at me and she goes, "Yeah, there's more stuff in the back." I was like, "Oh, hi, I'm pretty sure I'm Joe. We communicate through email." She goes, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "Okay, fine, whatever." Whatever. She's a very businesswoman. Like, okay, that's fine. So I go to her car, and then I'm taking stuff out, and then she. We're sitting down, and it's kind of quiet, and then she turns to me, and then she goes, "Are you Rebecca's husband?" I said, "Who?" She goes, "Rebecca's husband. You're her husband, right?" I was like, "I don't know who you're talking about. My boss's name is Rachel, and I think she just forgot who." Yeah. And I'm not married to my boss, but my boss's husband does work a little bit in the TV and film industry, so maybe my boss had said, "Oh, my husband works in the industry as well." So she goes, "Yeah, and you're going to be babysitting me tonight, right?" I was like, "Babysitting? What are you talking about? Rebecca? Who the fuck's Rebecca?" And then and then I was like, "Oh, maybe she forgot who. She forgot my boss's name." And when she said babysitting, she meant like be her helper for that night, I guess. Yeah. Like, but she's just like very like blunt and just right to the point. So it's like she's giving me like she's getting on my nerves, right? And then so like the thing that really pissed me off though is that like there's this big ass ladder that we have. It's like, I don't know, 18 feet long, right? It's super long ladder. And so I have to move it because we have to adjust the lights for this thing. And then I heard her say, "Yeah," she's talking to her assistant. She goes, "Yeah, let him sweat his balls off." And it's just like, I'm helping set up your event. Yeah, I'm helping set up your event. Like, I'm not asking for appreciation. Just don't be a dick. Like, it's like that. I know these people are the fucking worst, and that's why we're a working man's podcast, Joe. Yes, exactly.
So give me her name after, and we'll. Yes, I will. We'll make a list because that's always healthy. And
I'm calling you out right now. But no. But yeah, no. So those. But yeah, I get what you mean. Though. Bitch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's goddamn worse. I'm like, I'm helping you out. Like, I that what pissed me so much about my incident was like I was just trying to be nice. Yeah. Like I just thought he wanted to share who he was. Yeah. And be friendly. And he got offended that I asked what his last name was.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure you would have been more than happy to be like, "Oh, hey, that's so awesome. Congratulations." Or "I've seen your play," or something like that.
Like, I'm not some guy like on the corner jerking off, asking like I'm in a jacket and shirt in a bar where our 2 drinks cost like $42. Like, you think I'm going to like who the dude, like, don't take yourself so seriously. Yeah. My God. But anyway, so that's why I have to keep fighting the man. Yeah. And the men are these, rich liberals who are usually women.
Exactly. Oh man. But Yeah, man. So what's new with you? How you got? Is your novel coming out? What's up with that?
So my novel came out. Yeah. Is that supposed to be a segue for me to promote my work? I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So we don't leave it to the end. I do have my latest novel is out. It's like it comes out in waves, kind of. It's like ebook. Okay, then you can get it paperback on this site, and then so Amazon's obviously the biggest.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. So on Amazon, the paperback comes out on December 6th. But you can order it from me directly. All you have to do is DM me. I don't know, every Twitter, Instagram, whatever. I can mail it to you. That's the most personal way to buy it, and just pay over like, I don't know. I'm not going to say it on here because the IRS will come get me.
Yeah.
Or you can buy it on what's called Bookshop, which has been available. Even if you contact me that way, I'm happy to make a personalized promo code for you. I can always do that, give you a discount.
Yeah.
And the ebook's been available. So it's actually on Kindle Unlimited. I kind of fucked up and made what you're supposed to do is probably make the first book in the series Kindle Unlimited. Because if you know what that is, I don't read Kindles, but it's basically you can download the book. You pay a subscription. You can download, I think, as many books as you want. Don't quote me on that. But basically, it's kind of like it's good for writers like me who, you know, I'm not Stephen King or John Grisham. So you can download it and read it. And then I get paid as much as you read. So if you really like the book you read, I think I get like paid for the book if you read. So that's a way to take risks instead of buying a full book from someone, even though the Kindle's like $2.99. So for this series, you do have to do it the other way. So Kindle Unlimited's for the new book, Six Harlots Perseverance of a Nation. You do have to buy Six Harlots Rebirth of a Nation, but it's only $2.99 for ebook, and then the paperbacks fluctuate. And again, I'm happy to give you a discount. And then I have 3 other books too. And our Patreon is also available for merch. You can sign up, different tiers. Yeah. Sign up for merch. We would greatly appreciate that. There's stickers, t-shirts, sweatshirts, I think mugs. You also get my books with Patreon tier. Again, just message me with what kind of book you'd like. It's all the instructions are in there.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And like and subscribe to all of our social media stuff. It goes a long way. Seriously.
Yeah.
Comment, all that stuff. Retweet, whatever.
I want to go on a rant about independent authors who promote their work on podcasts. I think that this is a class of people who needs to be exterminated. And I think, you know, like that should be for like real authors like Stephen King, John Grisham. I think those are the types of authors who should be promoting their work, not
100%
independent.
I actually saw Stephen King's pipe at Keen's, bring it full circle.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
Too bad he's a crit sellout now. And it sucks, unfortunately. And then I'll just continue. And then we have the Reckless Muse publication, submit
on Medium.
The editor doesn't have the best taste, but I usually screen things also. So I'll really decide at the end if the editor isn't quite sure we're going to accept your work.
Ben's making shit up now. He's gotten delirious.
So but we publish all types of stuff. Or I say Joe really runs it. Publishes fiction, nonfiction, interesting musings, whatever.
Yeah,
I find that on Medium.
Yeah,
and share that too, please. Now,
yes, and we'll have links for all the stuff in the description.
Okay, getting into the episode, meow.
Yeah.
I wanted to. So we're actually recording on a Sunday, which is rare.
The Lord's Day. Yeah.
Over at my TV because I have NFL Red Zone on, and I think the Saints are losing, unfortunately. But I'll keep you posted on that, Joe. I wanted to talk about because we're seeing what is honestly kind of foreseeable, I would say, from just the last 3-4 years. Let's say the last 3 years of what term I still like to use, unlike woke, I'm trying to use woke very often, but cancellation. Like we are seeing people who would be on the left being canceled. And this is over the one issue where there actually is kind of divisiveness and not a left-wing consensus, which is Israel-Palestine. If I listen to a good podcast, I like I said, I like to promote other podcasts on the show. Bridget Fedesi did a good episode with Greg Lukianoff on Fire. Of course, we love Fire.
Yeah.
and talking about just the state of, they touch on this concept, but I've heard him talk about, and just in general, one of the areas where for years left-wing students that usually get every have every opportunity to protest and make change and be super obnoxious and really browbeat the spineless presidents and deans and school boards of these universities. The one place where they do actually get into trouble is with Palestine. And this is what FIRE will say. This is what real free speech representatives will say. Like, this is the one area where there is pushback. If I say why I think that is, I will be accused of anti-Semitism. But I think it's just kind of, I don't think it's a bad thing to say that Jewish people have a lot of power in university spaces, just like they do in banks and media and all that. That's just a fact. I think on this issue, I've been a lot friendlier to Israel, that not the what they're doing necessarily, but the free speech issue in, let's say, like the West. Like, that's really our focus on this show more than like the geopolitics and the war going on. Although I also have some sympathies with the Palestinian group too, but and like we're going to talk about here, which is Melissa Barrera, who I really only know her from the newest 2 Scream movies, which have been okay. I think after I watched Scream 2022, I think that's just what it was called, like Scream, and then 2020, like I was like, I don't need any more Scream movies, because I'm like a pig to the trough with new horror movies. I did see Scream 6, I believe it was. I do think Scream 6 was better. Again, I'm like, I don't need another one. And now it looks like, well, I'm not going to get another one, because, or at least not with this kind of cast, because she was fired. Surprisingly. We'll read her statement, because it's always important to quote people directly. But she put up on social media, I think it was Snapchat, or I don't know if people say use Snapchat, but so I will just read it. I've been actively looking for videos and for information about the Palestinian side for the last 2 weeks or so. Again, I don't know exactly when this was, by the way, but I'll continue. Following accounts, I've been trying to look for the Palestinian side last 2 weeks, following accounts, etc. Why? Because Western media only shows the other side. Why they do that, I will let you deduce for yourself. Usually the algorithm on social media gets the gist. Well, ... My Discover page on IG will only show me videos showing and talking about the Israeli side. Censorship is very real. Palestinians know this. They know the world has been trying to make them invisible for decades. Keep sharing. She also then said, another post, I too come from a colonized country. Grown, that's me. And then she has a Mexican flag. Palestine will be free. Palestinian flag. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. Then she posted one more. I think, At the end of the day, I'd rather be excluded for who I include than be included for who I exclude. I think that was Robert Frost. So that's a joke. So that's it. To me, pretty standard kind of liberal cringe. Like, she wasn't saying gas the Jews. She wasn't saying Hitler was right. All the stuff that has been said, by the way, at these protests. She wasn't calling for violence. She was actually saying, I'm just not seeing another side, which to people like us sounds very reasonable. I don't know if I necessarily agree with her that it's not out there. Apparently TikTok, all it is pro-Palestine stuff. I don't use TikTok, so I don't know. Maybe this was like short when she says for the past 2 weeks. Maybe this was from like 2 weeks after October 7th. But this article was 11/21, so maybe not. Again, I don't know how genuine that is, that you couldn't find the stuff, but still, let's take it at face value. She's just saying, like, I'm trying to find info on the other side. She makes some cringe statements about her colonized land, like Mexico's colonized. Like, okay.
Whether she likes it or not, she wouldn't exist if it wasn't for
I'm assuming, like, I don't think she's like a full. Well, who like Aztec? Like, who was in Mexico before the Spanish arrived?
Aztecs and Mayans, I guess.
Yeah, Mayans. Like, okay, like most people are mixed who are Mexican descent, right? Like, okay, so she was fired, which we don't like. Like that's not great. Especially for something like that. I want to give the biggest I told you so to these people.
Yeah.
I want to, and we'll talk more about some of them. Like, and there is I think a range here of what's being said. Like, I do find the professor, again, that's someone who teaches young adults, even technically maybe some children. If you're like 17, like I knew some 17-year-olds in college, but like young adults who teaches them at an elite university. I think it was Cornell, who's like saying how giddy he was and excited he was about the attacks. Like shortly after. Like, to me, that's sick and disturbing. Yes, it's speech. I can understand why in like a university setting, a person, quote unquote, in a position of power who's like, you're paying tuition to go, like, that's a very different conversation.
Right.
And even still, he should maybe get the chance to apologize, correct himself, whatever. Like, I think he also faced some sort of disciplinary action. I need to look into that more. But this is just like a Hollywood actress who is playing characters in a movie. It's like kind of a silly movie, like Scream. Being canceled for stuff like that, I think is really disturbing. Like, not like, this is very, very disturbing. And I thought maybe we had learned, and maybe people who share her views will see the light in terms of like, okay, now that I've gotten a taste of it, she wasn't, and I know I'm kind of going on here, but last point, like she wasn't someone who made a comment that was like, oh, the crime has risen, like says something that's totally understandable. Like, the crime has risen in Los Angeles or something, and we need to fight. And it's just like, while the vast majority of people agree and have no problem with that, like the elites don't, like the elite academic crits don't like that. And then like she got canceled. Like, no, she's just said, I'm trying to find other stuff. Like, Palestine will be free. They are being bombarded. Like, she didn't say anything pro Hamas either. Like, it was like, that is, I think, a very strict distinction. That like being Hamas, who's in their charter, wants to exterminate the Jews, versus just like the Palestinian people, half of them in Gaza who are children being blown up. Like, and she still got canceled for this. Like, and she wasn't even so I would say wasn't supporting terrorism. Like, this is a really bad precedent. And I don't think, at the same time, I say all of this, if you or I, Joe, somehow went viral, right, for saying something that was, I don't know, let's say making jokes about Mexico, right, about how it's not a colony, all that. Do you think she would stick up for us? Like, no. Like, that's what's hard about this, is that these people would probably join the dog pile if it suited them, would retweet the quote tweets that are dogpiling on us. Like, I have no doubt in my mind, but I tend to just want to stick by my values.
We're principled, Ben.
We're kind of principled on this podcast.
But seriously, you're right though. It's, you know, it's happened to us multiple times on this podcast, of us defending people who were like, this person said something really stupid, but they shouldn't lose their job over it. And we know that if we have said something that they would be, and it caused a big controversy, they would happily dogpile on us. But, you know, unfortunately, we got to be the bigger men here. So, so because of her statements, she was dropped from Spyglass Media Group, which is the production company behind the upcoming Scream 7, and they released a statement saying, Spyglass's stance is unequivocally clear. We have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form, including false references to genocide, ethnic cleansing, Holocaust distortion, or anything that flagrantly crosses the line into hate speech.
Like,
hate speech.
What? I'm sorry. This is an area, and we've said this a bunch on the show. How did you take anything that she says there, right? And I read it, every word of that. How do you take that to be any sort of anti-Semitic comments, incitement of hate, like ethnic cleansing, genocide? What? Where? I'm not seeing it. And this is that same concept that comes up again and again, where it's just, and we saw this with racial politics. You see it with gender stuff. It's like, you say something that is, and you say whatever it is, right? Whatever comment it is, whatever statistic you cite, whatever gender critical thing it is, like, I don't know. And then the powers that be just respond with, we don't condone hate speech, or, you know, trans violence, or racial bigotry, or whatever it is. It's like, it's not digging into the material at all. It's not pointing out what it is. It's like when she said this is how we took that. It's like, no, it's just, you're just labeling people and attacking them. And this is one of the most obvious arenas where this happened. I'm sorry. They make the joke in Seinfeld from the 90s where Uncle Leo just calls everything anti-Semitic. Yeah. And then and Jerry has to be like, Uncle Leo, just because I forget what happened, just because this person said this or did this doesn't mean they're anti-Semitic. Yeah. Like it's kind of the same concept here. It's like you start labeling everything white supremacy. You start labeling everything like trans violence. You start labeling everything anti-Semitic. It takes the power away from the real the real anti-Semitic shit that absolutely exists out there with this issue. I'm seeing some super disturbing shit that is not protected speech, or is some of it is, or is like really gross anti-Semitic violent things, especially in Montreal has been terrible. Australia, like literally gassed the Jews. Hitler was right. Hitler didn't finish the job. Like that's anti-Semitic. Not saying, Palestine will be free. Yeah.
Well, in the article that I'm reading here, it brings up some quotes that she's posted on her Instagram. Which is, she said that she's calling the war genocide and ethnic cleansing, and Gaza is currently being treated like a concentration camp. That seems to be what they're specifically referring to.
Where's that?
This is on her Instagram.
Okay.
So the article,
to
me, it seems like it's a dumb thing to say.
Was that because I read the whole thing?
Yeah.
And this is I thought what got her fired. Was that before or after?
I'm not sure. The article I'm reading is.
Oh wait, yeah, me too. Another post must repeat compared. So, but again, okay, are we on the same thing? Are you on TMZ?
No, I'm on KView ABC.
Okay, I'm on TMZ, and it says another post must have poorly compared Gaza to a concentration camp, calling the war in the Middle East genocide and ethnic cleansing, right? And colonized land. She's calling Gaza. What's happening to Gazans? Genocide, not calling for a genocide against Israelis. That's that again, it's the same thing. It's like you're twisting words just to make accusations. Like she's not, like there are people out there who are quote unquote protesting the war who are calling for genocide of Israelis. Who are calling for ethnic cleansing of Israelis. That's not what she's doing.
Exactly.
She's labeling what's happening to the Palestinians as these things. So for you to say like, how dare you call us these things? Well, I mean, that's just okay. That's just a disagreement. That's an argument.
Sure.
But that's this distortion that happens in these, like, it's so scary to me because it's the same concept of like just calling everything racist, calling everyone Hitler, calling everything. It's like, no. I'm saying like this, like it's racist to do this. Like if I say to call I don't know, it's the same concept with like white supremacy was probably the best example of it. It's like I see video and person in New York City. I see black men harassing Asian people, Asian women. I see video and video. It doesn't mean they're the only ones doing it, but overwhelmingly it's like black homeless men harassing, and I saw with my own eyes multiple times, not recently, but last couple of years. And it was end AAPI hate, which a lot of those people, it's like you just lumped billions and billions of people together. And it's like, well, this is white supremacy. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not like, don't piss on my back and tell me it's raining. Like that's not, and you lose credibility when you say that. You can say end AAPI hate, it's cringe. You should say like end fucking harassment and terrorizing people, but don't start labeling it white supremacy because it's clearly not what's going on. And it's the same thing here. It's like you're saying that there's genocide being this speaker, Melissa Barrera, is saying that genocide is occurring to the Gazans, and then you come out and say we don't condone genocide speech. It's like, well, technically you're right. It's just not the genocide speech that you want to hear, right? So anyway,
it's I mean, if if every person in Hollywood who uttered, you know, a sort of half thought out political statement lost their job, it's like nobody would have a job in Hollywood. So it's like,
yeah,
you know, at worst, I think, you know, her statement is just sort of, I don't know. She probably didn't put a whole lot of thought. It's more emotionally driven, but it's like, yeah, whatever. It's some hyperbole, whatever, fine. But it's like she's not calling for anybody. Like, you know, like I said, she's not calling for actual genocide. And so for her to lose her job like that, it's like, or at least to lose representation. Or yeah, no, she actually did lose her job. Yeah, she was fired from the movie.
She was fired from the movie. Yeah. And I don't. What is so, like, where is it? Who said recently? Right here, in its own little paragraph, right? Censorship is very real. This is what gets you to say that.
Yeah.
This issue for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
The social media companies and the government has been censoring anything that goes against whatever the current narrative is, whether that's the war in Ukraine or the COVID vaccine, or, you know, statistics about racial violence or police violence or whatever these is. Those get censored all the time. Yeah. But now you're saying censorship is real. So it's like, okay, I would love if this was a wake up moment for her.
Yeah.
And she was like, now I'm going to start questioning more things. Is everything like I've been on the correct side? And what I do is I bring up my own, like, I went through this where when you're constantly reaffirmed, like when I was in law school, I was very, very liberal, very progressive, and pretty much everything I said was reaffirmed from my professors and from the people around. Doesn't mean there were lots of conservatives at my school, I think, but they didn't speak out very rarely because they were at a disadvantage. I saw this also when I was a conservative and I was much younger. People would give you looks. The teachers would almost always shoot you down or make you feel stupid. And then it felt nice to constantly be reaffirmed because you're saying this super progressive thing. And if there are conservative professors, which there are, they're usually just not going back and forth with you because they don't want to get in trouble for everything. Now everyone has a phone and records everything. God forbid they take some stance that isn't, 100% in line with the most progressive person. Right. Then they don't have the support of their administrators and the presidents and the deans and whatever it is. Yeah. And they're not going to risk their livelihoods because why would you? So, so bringing that full circle here, it's like she's probably been she's used the colonization language and indigenous this and racial justice that. And I'm sure she was very, if not pro-vaccine or pro-COVID mandates, whatever it is, I'm sure she didn't speak out about them. Yeah. And now it would be nice if because of this issue, she takes a step back and goes, oh, what else are they censoring? I think that's wishful thinking. Yeah. Usually, a lot of times these same people, then the next issue that comes up, it's the same thing. Cancel culture isn't real. Censorship isn't real. It's nice to see when they do. But I don't know. We'll monitor it. Like maybe she'll start saying things that aren't, like, you do see that with some people. You saw that with the guy from Mumford & Sons. You saw that with who's the rapper, the female rapper singer who was very like anti-COVID stuff. I follow her. Oh crap, I forgot her name. I don't remember. Yeah, but she got canceled. Like, didn't Nicki Minaj get canceled for stuff? And then sometimes, unfortunately, the far side of that is they become a complete conspiracy theorist. Yeah, like it is. You do have to put guardrails on, and like no, not every you can trust some people. There are some good sources. Like not everything is a conspiracy. Yeah. And that's tough. Like you gotta toe the line sometimes, or not toe the line, but you have to. I don't know. It's annoying. You have to like dig into everything. Yeah. And I'm not fully convinced that someone like Melissa Barrera will all of a sudden be, miss pro free speech, anti-censorship.
Yeah, she's gonna. I would not be surprised if she releases a statement saying I'll do better and I need some time to heal. And
I don't know if she's gonna say like I'll do better. Like I don't think it's that. I think she's made a lot of money. I'm sure. Like I don't know if this is like blacklist. Like yes, I'm not gonna say pro-Israel people. Yeah. Again, some of the biggest pro-Israel people, like evangelical Christians, ironically, like some of the people who Hollywood hates the most and is has the most contempt for, they're actually all on the same side in this issue. So it's not just Jews, and a lot of the biggest critics of Israel are Jews. Like, again, it's diverse. It's a diverse issue.
Yeah.
And there are libertarians. It's a lot of horseshoes going on here. Like, there are some hardcore libertarians who are on the same side as like far left progressives on this issue. So anyway, say all of that to be like, I don't know. Like, I think she's going to still be able to work. If I would like to see her stick to her guns, honestly, and I do think with the way things are going, not to get into all the geopolitics, like, I think that position is going to become more understandable, especially because she's not out here against saying like violent terroristic things. She's just being like, she's using the kind of similar squad talking points, like Palestine will be free, you know, and the genocide and ethnic cleansing, that sort of stuff. I think there's not the taboo with that there was even like a decade ago.
Right.
So I am curious, like, is she going to work more? I think she'll be fine. And then she'll fall right back into place with all the other liberal talking points, Hollywood talking points. But it definitely made me want to kind of like rush an episode to talk about this. Yeah. Because you don't see a lot of it. Usually it's coming in a totally different direction.
Well, she's in good company because a spokesman for the United Talent Agency said Susan Sarandon, the 5-time Oscar nominee, is no longer represented by the agency. Sarandon's exits from UTA followed comments she's made about Israel, most recently in an appearance on November 7th at a pro-Palestinian rally in New York. Here's her statement. There are a lot of people afraid of being Jewish at this time and are getting a taste of what it feels like to be a Muslim in this country, so often rejected to violence, Sarandon said.
Subjected to violence. Yeah. So again, that's super fucking cringe. Susan Sarandon, I liked her for like it's someone stuck to her guns. She liked my tweet once because something happened, you know, the Democrats screwed something up and had nothing to do with her. And I just tweeted like, why would Susan Sarandon do this? Because she got blamed basically for Hillary Clinton losing, because everyone but Hillary Clinton got blamed for losing, even though Hillary Clinton was a terrible candidate and only has herself to blame. But I think Susan Sarandon was one of those people who was like, vote Jill Stein. They basically took that left flank and took some votes away, even though like I will argue till I'm blue in the fucking face that if anyone was hurt by a third party, it was Trump. Gary Johnson won more. And if you're gonna ascribe Green Party votes to the Democrats, you have to ascribe Libertarian Party votes to the Republicans. And in every single swing state that Trump won, Gary Johnson won much more, many more votes than Jill Stein did. Like so if anyone should be blaming third parties to making it even that close, it should have been Trump, not Hillary Clinton. But the Democrats are dumb and broken and just couldn't admit that they fucked up, and for many different reasons. But so I like Susan Sarandon for that. This is super, super cringe comment. I mean, I'm sorry, like being what it feels like to be a Muslim in this country, so often subjected to violence, like for a population that is, I think, 1% of our population, like they've caused way more violence representatively. Like, yes, there have been Muslims who have been subjected to violence for being Muslim. And it's the same thing. It's like if all the Christians in this country wanted to just like kill them, they would. Like it would just happen. I remember listening to in a lot of people, like Jersey City, which is the most diverse city in the country, I believe, per capita, has the, I think, largest Coptic Christian population outside of Egypt. The Copts are Egyptian Christians. I remember sitting at my barber, the guy sitting next to me was a Copt, and he was saying how they're just subject to violence from the Muslims in Jersey City. Like they just get attacked for being Christian. And like, I just don't, this whole like Muslims are just attacked for, it's just not fucking true. It's just something that people like to say because again, there's like, show me the statistics where Muslims are being targeted for being Muslim. If anything, it's the Sikhs who, because they're perceived to be Muslim because they wear turbans. I feel so bad for the Sikhs. Like I'm not going to like, I'm very interested in that religion. Just from like they're being targeted in Canada, like assassins, because there's a whole Sikh separatist movement in India. But that did happen after 9/11. Like some guy went and shot up a bunch of Sikhs killed AC because he thought he was a Muslim. Which like not even, they're like Christianity's way closer to Islam and Judaism way closer to Islam than Sikhism is. But like it's just not the fucking case that Muslims are. It's the same thing where it was like trans people are being targeted for violence in Portland, and there's like roving white supremacists, and it all turned out to be fake. Like not a single, it was like a trans person got drunk and fell and hurt herself and blamed it on white supremacists. Like I swear, like it's not even an exaggeration. Like I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And it's the same thing. So people like Susan Sarandon who say this, just like show me where that's true. Muslims, for instance, are targeted for being Muslims in places like India, where there's a Hindu nationalist movement. So where Christians are targeted there. Just like in some countries, Christians are targeted for Muslims, and in some other countries, Muslims are targeted by that. Like, that's fine. In Israel, I think Muslims, like Arabs, and I think mostly Muslims, are targeted by Israeli settlers for being different. Like, but to say that Muslims are being targeted in the U.S. for being Muslim, it's just not true. Right. And like going 1 inch below the surface level would show that. So anyway, all that to say, yes, this is super fucking cringe, and I wish people would keep it keep it to Arabs and Israelis, because that actually is the case. Like there are Arab Christians, by the way, who are being murdered in Gaza. What's his name? Who's that congressman? Justin Amash, who was the only libertarian in Congress in Michigan. He had family members who were killed in Gaza because the Israelis bombed like a historic church. And they were taking refuge in there. So, like, I'm sorry, I just hate that, like, putting religion into it doesn't help anyone. But all that being said, she was dropped by a United Talent agency.
And there's more here too, actually.
Which is also dumb. I think there's a little more understandable than the Melissa Barrera quote, but I don't think, like, I don't know. I think this is just really bad precedent. I mean, the precedent was set a while ago, but this is like, it's just another example of that we're not off of this, this train yet.
I mean, if I was running an agency, for me, it would have to take something really extreme for me to want to drop somebody. It's like, even if they said some stupid, cringy shit, I don't really care what their politics are, because eventually everything will blow over, and then we'll just go back to, getting our talent into the biggest movies possible to make sure that we're making tons of money. So for me, it's just like, well, did they commit a crime? Okay, well, we're dropping. We don't represent criminals here. Did they say something stupid at a rally, or did they post something silly on Instagram? I don't really care. This will blow over in a couple days, whatever. Can we get them in that Spielberg movie? Like,
we don't always know exactly. Like, maybe they because if they came out and said like, no, we gave her the chance to, because I mean, facially, I think she's wrong. Like, all I'm seeing, and I really do try to get like diverse videos and I listen to all types of different podcasts that talk about this. Like, all I'm seeing are Jewish students being harassed and terrorized. And yes, there was that really horrific story of I think it was like a landlord. This is such a gross story. Like up in the Chicago area, maybe it was Wisconsin or Illinois, who just like shot and killed a couple of his tenants because they were Muslim or Palestinian. Like, that is a horrific story. And I mean that he killed a child, like disgusting. But the vast majority of what I'm seeing is the total opposite. It's like Jewish students having to be herded into a library and like the door's locked so they're not attacked. It's in Montreal. I know that's a different country, but it's Jewish schools being shot at like multiple times. I'm just not seeing this. So it would be better. Like, I would have loved to see the agency come out and say something like that. Like, we believe that she's wrong on the facts. In fact, like X, Y, Z, here are the examples of all the Jewish people being attacked. All I'm seeing are videos of, and I was just in the city and I saw the missing, the flyers with missing children, and people it's so sick to me that people tear those down. Every video
Yeah.
I see of it is like a white NYU student doing it.
No.
It was in Montclair. There was a video. That's like where I'm from, that area.
Yeah.
Montclair, New Jersey. And it's just like 2 white people. I think one was trans, who like ripped down, like it's a missing child. Like, what is the matter with you that you would tear that down? Like, yes, that's not violence, but it's like, of course it's not violence, but it's the lack of like humanity. Like, you're taking down a missing child poster because you don't like that. It's also not talking about like then put up posters of the children who were murdered in Gaza, which they are. Yeah, like it's so, and so like that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, I'm not seeing Palestinian, like pro-Palestinian people, whether they're, you know, white 19-year-olds at I don't know, Hunter College, or you know, or Arabs from Dearborn. Like, I'm not seeing them getting attacked. I'm just not. I'm not seeing their things being torn down. And maybe they are, and someone can send them to me, and that's fine. Yeah, because I'm sure it is happening to an extent.
Sure.
But I just wish that instead of canceling the person, dropping her, putting out this, like, here are links to all of these situations, like, here are links to these videos. This is what we're seeing. Like, Susan Sarandon is wrong because she is. You honestly, like, you look like someone without, I don't know, like, you look like you're not helping the situation by just canceling her. You're kind of giving her power in that extent. Like, she's quote, like, hashtag speaking truth to power. So I don't know. It's hard because I don't think Susan Sarandon would defend us, Joe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But really again, here we are, you know, writing our stallions to teach the masses how to heal and how to conduct themselves.
That's all we can do.
So you were talking a little bit about
who, me?
Yeah, probably you. I'm guessing
me talking
about you know what this conflict has done to Hollywood. And I just want to read this paragraph right here. So the Israel-Hamas war has caused rifts throughout Hollywood. Earlier, when many groups were issuing statements condemning Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel, the Writers Guild of America ultimately didn't after failing to come to agreement. Maha Dakhil, a prominent agent with the Creative Arts Agency, last month resigned her board seat after sharing a social media post accusing Israel of genocide. Dakhil apologized. So yeah, it's interesting what it's doing to, you know, Hollywood, to the entertainment industry.
I kind of love it.
Like, yeah, I know it does crack me up.
Yeah, because I'm so not ideological on this issue.
Yeah,
I almost feel like such an outside observer. Like, as my name shows here, right? Like, it's Ben Roadblocks for Hearts and Minds D'Alessio. Like, I only see Palestinian protesters basically fucking up people's lives. Yeah. If you listen to the show at all, you know I cannot stand in the slightest. I have no tolerance for blocking people's access to, like, their homes, their jobs, at that form of protest, which is illegal and shouldn't be tolerated. And when I always post, the ACLU actually says this, like, you can protest on public property, but you cannot impede sidewalks and roadways, like, from people passing.
Yeah.
And they always do.
Yeah.
They're doing it on the Manhattan Bridge today, which is the most recent place I posted this. And destroying art, right? Which isn't going on here. But that's a common one. It's like, yes, I'm going to destroy this priceless Van Gogh work for the environment, whatever the fuck that is. So, like, I can't stand this. And this, to me, is only getting me to knee-jerk react to the people who are not doing it. Who are these, like, the pro-Israeli people? Because all you're doing is making, like, ambulances not get to emergencies and making people late for their jobs and not being able to see their children. Like, who the fuck are you to get to do that? So that being said, I'm like, I like because this is, yes, there's a little bit of the libertarian flavor on the right where there is a little bit of headbutting because you have I guess the more libertarian Republican side and the more neocon Republican side. I think that the neocons are back, have way more power. I think Israel pulls both parties to the center in this.
Yeah.
So I like kind of seeing the left where, while on some foundational fundamental issues, I actually do support them. I like seeing it all go up in flames. I like seeing Democrats get at each other, because I like seeing these progressives get at each other, because I can't stand their tactics. I can't stand their and we're seeing it here. Like, I'm sure that this group, United Talent Agency, outside of the quote unquote Israel issue, I'm sure they're great on everything else from that perspective. Right. I'm sure the Black Lives Matter this and trans rights that and all this other BS crap. And I like seeing this wedge start getting, put into this issue from, I don't want to see, I would, if I could snap my fingers and end the killing right now, I would. It's the same thing about Ukraine. I think it's sick. I don't understand. Like, one thing I don't really get, and I tweeted this, I'm like, what's so wrong about a ceasefire? Like, I don't get it. Like, a lot of people have died. Can we, is there no sometimes my jaw does drop at how bloodthirsty governments can be. I don't know why. I shouldn't be surprised anymore by that. Right. Same thing with Ukraine. But I basically all I'd say is, like, I'm enjoying the internecine violence, not legit actual violence. I'm not enjoying that at all. Internecine, flame wars going on. Yeah. And some people, it's kind of like, you made your bed. Like,
seriously. No, and that's a good segue into this about, like, this is what happens when the entertainment industry gets political and starts taking a stance on social issues. So I have this quote here. Anti-Defamation League CEO Jonathan Greenblatt also called out the WGA last month and told Variety, "There's just no excuse for not condemning Hamas and demanding the release of the hostages. Hollywood was quick to declare Black Lives Matter, as they should, and Time's Up, as they should, and myriad other important causes. There's plenty of room for criticism of Israel or to voice concerns about the ongoing war in Gaza, but that doesn't provide celebrities and industry reps with an open license to wage unfair accusations against Israel, such as causing apartheid or genocide or worse, to celebrate the actions of Hamas terrorists." And it's like, so it's like, if they Hollywood, got involved with Black Lives Matter and Time's Up and all that stuff, and then, like, when they're kind of silent on an issue, then they get criticized. So that's what happens when you get political, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's, if you open the door to it, if my cookie company, my hockey team is going to tweet about Kyle Rittenhouse and Georgia voting rights and whatever it is, then you do go silent. It's like, well, why don't you have a comment on this?
Exactly.
Like, because it's not like, oh, you're an expert in this area. So someone could be like, well, I wrote my dissertation on, I don't know, voting rights of the Deep South. Like, I don't know about geopolitics, right? It's not like that. It's not like an expert. It's like, no, you're a cookie company. Like all you have to do is tweet something. All you have to do is, release the hostage, release the children, like stop the killing. It could even be like kind of bland like that. And I think the better example of this is all these schools, like all these presidents came out when stuff like the George Floyd murder happened, and that happened across the country. And so you have like a school in, I don't know, Florida or New Jersey or whatever, tweeting about, making statements about something that happened in Minneapolis. And it's, well, where are you here? Like where are you now if or tweeting about Putin's invasion of the Ukraine? Okay, so where are you when a bunch of revelers at a music festival are raped and murdered? Like you have no comments on that. Like, now's the time you're gonna wait and see what comes out. Like, it's so sick. I would love just for, and maybe there has been a little bit of this, but I'd love for just like these schools, and I don't mean to focus too much on universities, but that's where so much of this comes from, and that's what a lot of that Bridget Fetisi episode was on. I think it was titled the provocative, like, stop hiring from Harvard. That's Greg Lukianoff saying that. And it's kind of true. It's like, for a lot of this, these graduates, they come out and they're just like more trouble than they're worth, because they want to be activists / whatever their job is, right? I forget where I was going with this, but it would be nice for these schools, like these presidents, to come out and just be like, no, we condemn murdering civilians. I don't see what's so hard about that. Right. And then you know what? They can come out and say, we condemn the indiscriminate bombing of children.
Yeah.
Fine. Like, what is so hard about that? You don't have to, that's not picking a side. That's like stopping the killing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact, and it's like the silence, it's a quote, the silence is deafening.
Yeah.
It's like you're showing your true hand when you can tweet immediately, like about Kyle Rittenhouse, when anyone who took one semester of criminal law in law school, once they had the facts, would tell you that Kyle Rittenhouse was going to be found not guilty. So much so that the judge even like reprimanded the prosecutor for bringing the case. That's how much of a bullshit political case it was.
Yep.
So there, like, you actually should have waited to tweet, but no, now it's time. Now it's time. Hey, we have to respect everyone's free speech rights.
Yeah.
Right. We have to respect free speech. We have to, you know, let's wait and see. But, and they're just, it's so disturbing. And again, I don't get it. Yeah. And here's the thing. And I'm trying not to sound anti-Semitic when I say this stuff, but some of the donors are tightening the purse strings now and say, well, you didn't make a comment, or you let this protest happen at your school where Jewish students, pro-Israeli students were attacked or whatever it is. All right, there goes the donations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that all those are Jewish donors, but I think they have a disproportionate amount of wealth in the country. I think that speaks to their, I don't know, business acumen and emphasis on education. Right. I'm not saying this is a negative thing at all. I grew up in a very, very Jewish area. A lot of and Asian, and they put a focus on education. Like, that's fine. Yeah. And a lot of them do well, and so they go to good schools, and then they donate to those good schools. So they graduate from those good schools, and they make lots of money because they have Ivy League degrees, or, you know, whatever, private education degree. So there is that, but unfortunately it has to come down to quote Ilhan Omar, the Benjamins, which I did not think was anti-Semitic at all. Like, I don't think, again, that's that same thing going all the way back to the beginning of this episode, just saying, like, throwing around the terms anti-Semitic, it loses power against real anti-Semitic occurrences that are happening. When she says it's all about the Benjamins, Israel is our biggest recipient of aid, of monetary aid. Like, that's statistically true. Yeah. But if you call that anti-Semitic, you discredit yourself. Right. Again, here I am defending people who would not defend me. Who are like, maybe she's actually been, for her, like, relative, like, let's use relativity here. She's been okay on some things. Like, she has come out sometimes for, like, free speech that she doesn't agree with. Yeah. That should be every single member of Congress. I think that should be every single person in America. Yeah. But hey, I have very low standards for Congress right now. So she's been okay. Yeah. And I defended her on that. She said some really dumb shit. Like the whole, some people did something about 9/11. But when she got accused of being anti-Semitic for All About the Benjamins, like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. It's a ridiculous thing to say. Yeah. And you're just being Uncle Leo. They're pulling an Uncle Leo. So that's what we'll call it from now on. Uncle Leo of the week. Somebody got Uncle Leo'd. Yeah, I did want to do two new segments. One is wet noodle or noodle spine of the week, when it's like a school president comes out with like a mealy mouthed statement about like something, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, there aren't as many now, but something like that. So like wet noodle spine of the week, and then we'll do Uncle Leo of the week. Because we have Nazi jar of the week. Yeah. So this is kind of another end of it, would be Uncle Leo of the week. I like it. It's just more revenue streams for us. So that's right. I don't know. Are we being nuanced here? Or I think this episode, it's like we're defending people who would not defend us. Yeah. At all. I don't think it's possible to be any more nuanced. I think we're just better than everyone else, Joe. That's what I'm getting at. I think listen to TRM. We're better than you. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. That's enough. We'll see how this shakes out. I'm curious how Hollywood will continue responding to what's going on in the Gaza Strip. What's the Gaza Strip? Oh, I'm sorry, the Gaza Strip. Yeah. Oh, the Gaza. Just a bunch of Joes running around. So yeah, well, I'm curious, and so maybe that'll be like kind of like an ongoing segment of like, okay, who got fired, who, you know, we'll see. Canceled. I don't know. Maybe there will be like, we talk about always about how there's gonna be like a right-wing movie, which like there is already, like right-wing movie. Now there's just gonna be like far left, somehow more liberal movies that are like just, I don't know. Maybe I'll just get even more atomized.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed.
All right, Benjamin.
Okay then. All right, Jose.
And is there an Italian?
Nope.
Like
there's not. there's no Italian.
I really need one right now. No, is there like a Ben like an Italian like
Benjamin in Italian?
Yeah.
I think it'd be Beniamino. Or Benito is.
Oh, Benito, yeah.
Is that just like little? I remember because when I took Spanish, my teacher would call me Benjamin or Benito. And when I went to Spain, I introduced myself. They laughed when I said Benito, and they're like Benito, like little. I was like, I don't know. That's what you. Yeah. Because I think Benito is just. It's just Spanish. Like Benito Mussolini, I think was named after like a Spanish person, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that. So I think it's Beniamino or I don't know. I don't think it's that common of a name in Italy for Italians. For
obvious reasons, I'm guessing.
Like
how many Adolfs are there in Germany now?
I always wondered that. I'm like, well, you see Adolfo sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Adolfo, I think Adolfo Suarez. I don't know. I guess he was before. Wasn't he the first? I think he was the first president of Spain after Franco. Is that right? Am I just mixing people up here? Adolfo Suarez. That's like Adolfo. I feel like you see like which is just Adolf.
Yeah.
Adolfo Suarez was Spanish. Yeah, he was a Spanish politician. He was Spain's first democratically elected prime minister. Yeah, I fucking nailed that after Franco.
Democratically, so they all knew.
What?
They all knew, like everybody voted for him. They all knew like the name.
Yeah, and that was like the 70s. That was after Franco.
Oh wow.
So Adolfo is but Adolf. I don't think there are a lot of kids being named Adolf anymore in Germany.
Yeah.
Find those names. I don't know. Do you see black people named OJ though? Emojis. Not enough time's passed there. But anyway, there's a little. I know of a little white kid named OJ. I was like a little blonde white kid named OJ.
All right.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I'll get back to you on that Adolf stat.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, Benjamin. Stay reckless.
All right, Jose. Stay reckless. Fight the crits.